Got the gentleman and the cat.
I have one.
5 raise, 50,000.
First hand of the day. Harry Lodge opens under the gun with ace-king.
6 fold.
Yeah, and Harry had quite the spin up yesterday.
4, 5, 5, 5, 6.
Oh, we call the boxes, not the balls.
Okay.
5 sevens. 7 folds, 8 folds.
Round to Alex Fournier. Ace Jack off in the cut off.
No relation to the cards. The maker, no. Because then, you know, maybe...
To the best of my knowledge, I mean...
10 raise, 100.
Fournier 3 bets.
1 fold.
Piero Aliotto folds the button. Jack Sinclair out from the small blind. Rania Nasreddine ace-5 off in the big. Passes, so action back on Harry. Even though they're both sitting down, you can see how ludicrous his height differential is.
Right, I wonder if, you know, that chair can even go up that high. She might be at the highest setting right now. You know, Lodge just really has a big hand under the gun. Maybe Fournier thinks, oh, well, the chip leader here at the table just wants to set the tone, gonna raise the first hand, not gonna be quite this strong, but he would be wrong if that's what he was thinking before he decided to 3-bet with ace-jack.
So the 4-bet is to 375,000. Doesn't really leave Fournier with anywhere to go now.
Yeah, when you start with 37 bigs, it's really just gonna be a determination of whether you decide you want to go with it or not. I mean, yes, if you called, you would play in position, but if he has a value range here that's, you know, definitely going to be better than ace-jack.
Over to the secondary feature table. I can see the red triangle of death in front of Simon Wiciak. Looks like the reigning champ is all in. And he's been called by Andrew Hume. It is the sickest and classicest of all races. Ace-king versus queens. Wiciak officially behind and at risk here.
Like white meat versus dark meat.
Double quick check, yeah? 8-15 here.
Will the two-time dream still be alive after this run out?
I'm sorry, Hume. Is this hand boring you for almost all of your chips?
Yeah, it's a virtual all-in for Andrew. 25K behind. Ace-high flop. Wiciak now a 9-1 favorite.
A little sigh of relief, but there's still 2 cards to come.
Turn card is the 4 of clubs. Just 2 cards for Simon Wiciak to fade.
A little resignation there from Hume.
River card.
Oh my gosh!
And in the cruelest fashion, the two-time dream is over. The reigning champ dispatched in 36th place.
I wasn't expecting that.
What a race.
Definitely the classicest, definitely the sickest. 26,900 euros. Look, this has been an incredible run. It's a great result, a superb achievement, but understandably disappointment right now for Simon, knowing he was so close to making the final table 2 years in a row. Huge cooler. 2 of the biggest stacks in the tournament. Steven Song with aces, Tim Chung with kings.
Yikes.
A Jack 10-4 flop. 6 on the turn. And a queen on the river. Aces hold.
Well, that's gross at this stage.
These guys were both massive stacks. They're just double checking, but it looks like Chung has been eliminated. I don't think anyone saw this happening at the start of the day, that he'd have to make do with a 34th place finish. But he's going to cash for 26,900 euros. And by virtue of winning the biggest pot of the tournament so far, Steven Song will be chip leader with 6.25 million.
We're also on the verge of a pay jump, 31st place. It's going to pay 30K euros.
Dad, why can't I have King Queen suited? Sakis folds the King 8. Rania Nasreddine, ace 5 in the big blind. Does she feel like squeezing here?
Good call.
Just a call, three-way to the flop, which is Jack 10-4.
Pretty good flop for King Queen. Decides to check back, gives everybody a free card. You know, I think with 2 overs and an open ender, I would be c-betting that in position quite often. Now, John Way with the gutter. What does Matal want to do? I mean, you're going to be in position. I'm very surprised to see this fold, you know, with an open-ended straight draw, just folding in position.
Yeah.
I just, with 2 overs, I feel like there's a lot of other ways you could win the hand, you know, without needing to hit your straight. And then you have Rania with the gutter of her own to the wheel here, continuing.
3, 4, 6, 7, 8. That's not a straight. He does not have a straight. Ace high's good.
Yeah, and you know, when you show up to the river with the bottom of your range, and you know, there's some natural missed draws, right? Some flush draw from the flop, some straight draws. I mean, you would imagine that if it's checked to John Way, he's going to have to try to bet and get Rania off of whatever holding she has.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes she's going to have some 10Xs here. You know, she's going to have some draws, which a lot of the draws beat John Way at showdown. So you just can't reasonably expect to win this hand by checking back. You do see him reaching for chips.
$250,000. We saw her make a phenomenal hero call yesterday with second pair. Can she make an ace high hero call here, which would be right?
I don't think that it's a good thing that she blocks a lot of the draws, right? I think, you know, she blocks, you know, the flush draw. She blocks a lot of some turn straight draw, some, you know, other ace X, ace deuce suited or something that would have opened pre-flop. I think the reason why she's even thinking about it is because he checked the flop.
Yeah.
And so maybe she's wondering, you know, if there's any way that her ace high could be good, you know, if better ace highs end up. Ooh.
She's made the call. Rania heroes with ace high and is right. Two heroes in one tournament.
I took time. I took time this time. I took time this time.
That was worth it.
That was
Rania
worth it.
Nasreddine up to 3 million chips now, 100 big blinds.
Well, it's Viola. She's the best.
Oh, it's
She's
always
from
the
Hungary.
same.
I tried.
You sure she said she's from
She
Hungary
brought me
and not just
Haribo
that
gummies
she's
today.
hungry?
So excited.
4 fold.
Harry gonna play again, King 10 this time.
60,000.
Everyone in chat saying he called. He did call.
Oh, he did call. I didn't see that.
My
Did you
turn
see
for
that?
bathroom?
I just took your word for it, to be honest, but
Oh, I think I did
I've
see
gone
one
before, so
chip
I think I
in
can do
front
it
of
again.
him signaling the call, now that I think back. But there wasn't really any indication from either player.
we
that
wanted
anything
him to fold.
happened.
We wanted to
Exactly.
compliment the fold.
Exactly.
Sometimes you see what you want to see, my babies. What can I tell you? So Zhang Wei back involved with Queen Jack.
10 fold.
He's going to be dominated in this spot by Fournier. Ace, King, 6, top pair for Fournier. Second pair for Lodge. Gut shot for Zhang Wei.
10 check.
Something for everyone.
I think if you're going to flop a gut shot here, you also have to turn a spade. If you're this far behind.
5 check. Six check.
Well, that's a very interesting turn card because now John Wei has Broadway, Harry has 2 pair, and Fournier has top pair with a gut shot
Yeah.
to Broadway and the flush draw.
Now, I said you got to pick up a spade here. Of course, you can also just pick up the frickin' Broadway.
I mean, what a card.
So what's the grossest river card? The King of Diamonds?
I mean, yeah, that's going to be gross, but it would be a lot easier for John Wei to get away from his hand with 4 flush and a paired board there. You can see why Lodge is going to make the call here with King 10. You know, there's not really a whole lot of value in raising. You're just really hoping to be up against these type of hands that have equity that you're ahead of, but
I love it. The stalls in the back, like they have
not
this
surprising
skeleton,
to
like-
You
see
like it?
Yeah.
Oh,
John
gosh.
Wei
No, it's like shocking.
Because I normally
Hot?
tilt when I go on break.
cut out a raise,
Keep
and
putting
it's
hand
not very big
So now it's like
raise.
cool
It's
off.
just
You
a
blue
250
hands?
against
Yeah.
a bet of
I didn't know
100.
that. I didn't know that was in your range.
I don't think it's going to be good enough in terms of getting anybody with decent
Why do you do
equity
it?
to fold
Main
out. I mean,
playing,
you're
so-
fine with keeping Lodge in there.
Why do you do it?
Fournier has 21% equity,
Why?
though, with his
Yeah.
hand.
Skill issue.
Okay, well, everyone says you're one of the best, so I don't know about that.
Who?
Everyone's like,
Yeah.
my friends are like, Jack Sinclair. And I was like, I don't know who this guy is. But I mean, I
John
have
Way's
bad
raising
names. I barely know my
250,000.
own.
5 fold.
Action on
Feels so
Lodge,
much better.
who
God, that
gets
was
away.
Yeah, decides not to make the overcall.
River is
my
the King
gosh.
of Diamonds.
Wow.
Flexible. Can you see this?
And you know, Harry made a good fold on the turn, but
Okay.
The
stay
full
with me.
house.
All right, let's switch
he's
sides.
gonna regret it just because this river card.
Okay.
Traditionally have pretty good
So
balance.
sick.
not bad for a
As
guy.
it stands,
What's
Fournier
your
with the
arm
best hand, that
flexibility
queen high flush.
Oh, yeah,
I
this
just
is not
don't
gonna be
think
pretty.
John Way's gonna be betting very often here.
Okay, I don't
Just
break
don't
your back.
expect worse to call. Might be one of the worst cards in the deck.
Call a doctor.
I gotta play the
I'm
lotto
injured and
tonight.
Sinclair's down.
Shiba.
Harry Lodge,
So this is Montreal against China.
deeply regretful.
I don't know what happened on the flop, but
Fournier's checked.
Wow.
Trying to induce a bet from Jean Wei.
turn went bet, call, raise, call, fold. So
Doesn't get it. Fournier's gonna win this pot regardless.
ace 10, I guess.
He must have ace. Oh, he's the queen. Oh, he has the nut flush.
Uh-huh.
No,
Nut.
does he?
Well, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Fournier,
the nut flush.
Okay, that makes sense.
straight, but Harry, come on, tell him. Harry,
Are you watching the stream?
Harry, you can tell him. All right, looks like we're gonna have multi-way action here. This could get fun.
5-4.
Hopefully Harry doesn't fold a full house this time. Jean Wei, let's go. This is exactly your jam. This is the Jean Wei you like it.
6-4.
Ace 10, pocket fives, pocket fours, queen jack, and 78. There's a 10, there's a jack, there's a, this is, I mean, come on. Come on.
Wow. Well, it looks like the dealer picked Harry. And he's got bottom set, while Rania has top pair, and Fournier's got a little piece with second pair.
Now, last time Harry flopped a set, it ended up being no good, if I remember correctly.
3 check.
And it's Rania who's going to bet with top pair and a diamond. Now, how many folds is this going to get? Not this one.
Yeah, well, depending if Lodge wants to just check raise here,
Yeah.
I think Fournier is going to be folding quite often against a raise. But
What about the gut shot for
maybe
Jean Wei?
no, I think the gut shot's definitely out of there against a raise. But Fournier might find an overcall if Harry just decides to call, but I don't think so because there are just some draws possible. You unblock all of the good top pair hands, right? If Rania has ace jack here or king jack, you definitely want to start building the pot, getting more chips in. You guys are both so deep. I just don't think you can continue here with the ace 10 when it's been check raised to you.
Nah.
So it is going to go heads up because you also are not just going to be folding queen jack. You also do have some backdoor straight and flush potential.
I mean, this pot could potentially be real bad news for Rania.
Oh,
Ace of diamonds on the turn, so she picks up the flush draw now.
yeah.
Remember when I said this could be real bad news for her?
Yeah, she also has a straight draw as well. And Lodge is certainly going to be sizing up because, again, you unblock all of the good Jack X hands, right? Which, again, that will contain ace jack. That will, you know, sometimes be Jack 10 as well. You could be up against two pair right now with bottom set.
550.
And so you definitely want to continue to get more money in there. You know, it's a really good spot. King Queen does get there, which you are going to be a little bit weary of. But again, just so many other value hands.
4-4.
And a very quick call from Rania. And I think Lodge is beginning to understand what kind of cards he does not want to see come in on the river.
The
Oh,
9 of
wow.
diamonds is on the river, and I said this pot could be trouble for Rania, but guess what? Now it's trouble for Lodge's set again. No good again. It's a flush card and it's a straight card. 2.1 million in the middle. It's exactly what Harry's got left behind, 2.18 million.
Now he might be struggling to find a lot of hands that he beats. So you do see him check. And that
Can
is,
she find a size that will get called by bottom set?
well, whatever the size is, it was a very quick bet that she made on the river.
750,000 feels like too much.
I just think that with the fact that she called the check raise on the flop and she called the bet on the turn and she decided to bet so quickly on the river, I think it's just very difficult for Harry to come up with very many bluffs.
So there's obviously not a lot of running diamonds that are going to stick around on that flop, right?
Unless it is exactly
Queen, jack
Queen,
of
jack
diamonds,
of
jack
diamonds
10
or King, Queen
jack
of
10
diamonds.
of diamonds, right? Yeah.
You know, King 10 of diamonds
Sure. Yep.
might sometimes be there with calling the check raise on the flop. I do think this is, you know, a little bit of just the timing on the river. You know, the fact that she had a spot she didn't have to really even think about and she just bet so quickly. I think that has to be a factor here. I mean, it's just really unfortunate, you know, because you wonder, is ace jack, is like a good two pair hand going to be betting on the river when the straight comes in, when the flush comes in? You know, if you don't think she's ever value betting with worse, you're just not going to find very many hands you beat.
Harry does fold. And Rania Nasreddine, nearly 4 million in chips at this point, 129 big blinds.
Good hand, big hand.
As we go back to the main feature table where it's fours against
Oh my.
queens and Sinclair has outflopped Zhang Wei in a big way. An 80K raise from Zhang Wei, called by Sinclair. Zhang Wei continuing flop for 55,000, raised by Sinclair to 185K. And how's he going to respond with this overpair?
I mean, he's not going to be folding, that's for sure. And only playing about 25 big blinds behind, you have to imagine that Jinwei might just try to go for it all. Now, facing this click, though, I don't necessarily think that the jack is always going to shove. He's going to want to keep the bluffs in when Jinwei has something like, you know, 2 overcards and is trying to rep the overpair, right? You don't want to lose your customer here. Your hand strength is too big. But Jack might also deduce, you know, I just think that he has it here and wants to get all the money in before a scare card comes against a hand like queens, like an ace or king on the turn. I think Sinclair's probably just going to call. I mean, it is incredibly strong. I don't know how he would play it against what we might consider a reg on the tour. Alarm bells would really go off. It's just so hard to make a set. And if your opponent does have something like, I know he believes him, so he does decide to put all of it out there.
Oh, wow.
How much?
I mean, he 4-bet to 400,000 and now it's 745,000 to call.
And this is a great read by Jack Sinclair. Really reading strength here from Jinwei. It's also one of those boards where, let's just say you do decide to trap. It's not deuce 4-7, right? Or deuce 4-8 or deuce 4-9. If a 3 or a 5 come on the turn when you just call, you might not get the rest of the money. So
it could just be this angle, Griffin, but I don't think that Lin Jianwei has that many time bank cards left. And I know that if he makes it to tomorrow, he'll get another 6, but he's still going to make it through the rest of today with just the 2 he has now. And this is a big decision.
yeah, and it's impressive he's even thinking about it, to be honest, because I think what Jinwei is really getting to is, even though my hand strength is too big, what would he really do this with? Why would he do this? Why would he spin out here with, you know, 2 8s or, I don't know, what, ace-5 of spades? Like, what are his bluffs here, really? Like, I'm not really beating that much value, so that's where the hesitation comes in. But I think he's just, his hand's just a bit too strong for 30 big blinds effective.
Well, he's literally running out of time. I think he may have played both of his remaining time bank cards.
I mean, this would be a very impressive fold.
Just another card. I have.
Yeah, you already take.
You have it, yeah.
So it sounds like he has at least one more there, James.
Well, he's on it now. This is his last 30 seconds.
Yeah, and this is also why there is an argument, and sort of a lot of players would tell you they would just maybe call the check raise here with the queens.
Rather than re-raising.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not prepared to get it in, you're
Yeah.
effectively turning your queens into a, let's see where they're at, which it seems like too big a hand to do that with. Keep the bluffs in by calling the check raise.
Clock runs down to 0. He's timed
Wow.
out. So that is a fold, and
Wow.
Zhang Wei is now out of time bank cards. And one thing I want to highlight is pre-flop, your first decision, you've got 15 seconds. If he's got a tough decision facing, for example, a raise and a 3-bet, he cannot extend that clock.
Yeah.
And over to the secondary feature table, where there has been a virtual all-in from Nicky Palma,
Oh, my goodness.
called by Tomasz Kaczynski. Timmer with kings in the big blind.
Let Timmer simmer.
All in. E5, player 8.
So Timmer reshoves. Palmer only has 5K behind. One assumes he's calling here. What does Kaczynski do here?
Yeah, I just think you kind of have to call the extra 800. I don't want to speak for him, but you know, once you put out 555, it's not even 800 more. We're talking about 33 big blinds total. You've already put out, you've already put out
Probably not going to waste all of them, because if I win the hand...
15, 16.
I'm
It's
gonna
going to be a
want
snap
time,
call, I
so-
think, from Krasinski, hoping that his opponent has something like queens or jacks, or the same hand with ace-king. I mean, Timmer's range is incredibly strong here. Palma knows he's in trouble. Palma knows one of these two guys has a bigger pair, and if not, somehow, if they're sharing ace-king, grand, but not entirely likely. And this is why we, see these players leave one chip behind in the situation where there might be a pay
I'll
jump.
just win the hand.
Yeah, and right now there is a pay jump. 28th place paying 30,950 euros, and then 36K for 27th. By the way, just to clarify, Yun-Kyu Song was eliminated a few hands back, so he went cashed out for 30K. That also means it eliminates all the song confusion. Steven is the last song standing.
Battle of the bands.
100.
Come on, ace, queen, ace, king. Come on. Come on. Okay, 6. We're due for a 6. Come on, USA. 6 one time. 6 one time.
Two players at risk
in a
here.
spot like this. These hands in this table, this
Palma
table
does have
specifically
a
is from-
devilish
I'm getting
grin,
this back, so.
looking for the
It's
666.
all one at a time, too, right? Oh, he's blocking the king, blocking the king. Let's go.
An ace on the desk could
Satan,
eliminate
come
two
on,
players.
Satan.
Yeah, and that is what Krasinski's looking for.
Satan, come on, Satan,
Timmer
one time.
looking a
6,
little
6,
tenser
I'm
than
Satan.
usual, even though he
Come
looks
on, baby.
like
6,
such a cool cat. I had a similar situation on day 3. You need to hold these big spots.
Oh, and it's gonna go one at a time. Oh, I can feel it. Maybe quads. I don't want to be greedy. I don't want to. I don't want to be.
Palma relishing the moment.
If he hits a king, then you need the pots.
Do it. Come on, nice and suave. Oh, come on, Steven. Come on, we're due, Steven. 6 me, dealer. What's your name, sir? Come on, buddy. You could do it. You could do it.
Say what you want about Palma. He
Okay, come
does
on,
make
4
for
more
some good
cards.
TV sometimes.
Okay. 6.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Timmer devastated.
Come on. There's
Appropriate
miracles, right?
reaction.
There's miracles. Come on, USA miracle. Remember the hockey team? Come on, 6.
You know a set does not beat a straight, right?
Yeah, I think he understands he needs to backdoor boat.
Actually. Yes.
Okay, well,
There's still
he's drawing dead. Looks like a chop between Timmer and Kaczynski.
1 out for the kid. Come on, come on.
And the case king would be very, very...
King.
No, so only one
Nick,
KO
sorry.
there.
Oh, what the...
Palma eliminated in 28th place. The other 2 players chopped.
Obviously, it's sick to hit.
Sent right back to the East Coast of the US of A.
And you'll
What
take
a
that
good run
too
for
if
Nick
you
Palma.
do before the flop.
Takes home
That
nearly
was gonna be a
31,000
result.
euros. Going to be a good result for him here in Barcelona. Yeah, King 5 suited. Going to be a happy raise for Jack Sinclair. Hope that any resistance you get is only in the form of a call and not more chips in pre-flop. Nasreddine, I think this is a bit too tight from the small blind here. I think it's, you know, her obligation with this big chip stack. Put some pressure on Sinclair, or at least call. You know, your queen jack off is going to be doing pretty decently against the button open range of Sinclair, who's going to open the queen 10s and the jack 10s. And then you're also just going to be live against a hand like,
Yeah.
you know, a king 5. So I think that that's a bit of a misstep from Rania, but she hasn't made many.
Do we have tip counts around the tables?
Amari says, I think this is a 7-day event because of the 20-year anniversary. Nope, it was increased to 7 days last year because the fields in Barcelona were getting so big that we couldn't get the tournament done in 6 days. So this is the 2nd year in a row it's been a 7-day main event in Barca.
Yeah, Jack just making this very small bet and praying that he gets a fold from Harry Lodge, that he's up against a portion of Lodge's range that is going to have some check folds. We can see not going anywhere with that 2 pair, and quads for Rania had she continued with the queen jack. And would have gotten some value from Harry Lodge, who I expect would have completed in the big blind.
Do you think we might hear about it after the conclusion of hand?
I think we might. You know, important not to be results oriented, but because it happened to be a hand that I think she should have continued pre-flop, maybe it'll bug her a little bit. Sinclair going to have the best hands sometimes against some spade combos of Harry Lodge. Also, if you are up against something like a Jack 9 or a Jack 8, you're going to have to fold the turn, and you fold out a lot of equity that can improve on the river. Also, I think why we're seeing this bet from Sinclair is the times that Harry Lodge does have something like the 6-8 of spades, he's not able to bluff the river when we check back the turn here with King High. And King High especially is going to be a very difficult call because you're blocking some of the straight draws.
Yeah.
So he's going to hate to see this call because it's going to mean that Harry Lodge often has a 10 and sometimes even a queen. Oh, man. Fortunes change. And Jack just knows he probably got away with one here. Unless he's up against quads, which are pretty easy to play against here. You know, you just bet fold. But you bet and hope to get called by that 10. I mean, if Jack Sinclair was bluffing here if he was bluffing here on the turn with King 5 of diamonds, wouldn't he maybe be doing it with Ace 5 of diamonds? And then with this river, wouldn't you try to fold out a 10? So that's why it's going to be difficult, I think, for Harry Lodge to fold.
Sure.
This is just such a good bluff card for Sinclair. And as we see, he was bluffing with this hand, so could have been bluffing with a wide array of other hands. The sizing is pretty milky, though.
Lovely. Milky, milky. A few people are asking me to whip out the widget, Griff.
The old widget whip out. Is it that time?
Guess they're wondering when we might get to 16 players. Should happen towards the tail end of level 27. Maybe we'll have to play into level 28.
Gotta say, I dig old Ari Lodge's table presence, the way he's methodically flipping that chip over, really trying to get to the answer here. Do I really think my opponent would bet 180,000 into the better part of 500K with a stone bluff here? And, you know, the price is deduced too good.
I folded Queen Jack in
There we
case
go.
anyone wanted to know. Bad fold, bad fold.
Action will start with Harry. Folded around to Alex Fournier. (9-4) in the cutoff.
No, thank you.
Panos on the button with 8-6 of diamonds. Still hovering around the 15 big blind mark. So it's blind v blind. Jack Sinclair in the small. Rania Nasreddine in the big. Jack's got ace-deuce of hearts. He completes. Rania with tens.
Yeah, and this is exactly why you just complete with a hand like this instead of, you know, raising. Because if your opponent wakes up with a big hand, you would hate to get 3-bet and have to either fold or make some, you know, 4-bet pre-flop. So happily going to limp call the near 4x for Jack Sinclair.
Nadia's raise called by Jack, and we go to the flop. King 5 deuce. So bottom pair for Sinclair. Rania Nasreddine way ahead with tens. Check, check, and trip deuces for Sinclair.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jack would have called the presumed small bet on the flop had Rania made it. So actually, she may end up sort of losing less because she missed a street here, which is nice. But Jack is going to come up firing and should expect to get called here.
200,000.
Yeah, that's why he's betting quite big. You know, he's betting about 60% on the turn, expecting Rania to have maybe something like tens, jacks, queens.
10 on the river.
No.
Rania
No.
Rivers a full house.
No. And this pot is already inflated to 740,000. So when Sinclair comes out with the hammer, he's going to put in 30 to 60% of his stack, and Rania's going to go all in.
How does Sinclair not go broke here?
The woman of destiny, Rania Nasreddine, after third place in Monte Carlo. Look at this spot here.
575,000, the river bet from Sinclair, leaving himself 620K. Rania must surely realize she can get the rest.
And wait till you see the expression on Jack Sinclair's face when he faces this all-in shove.
Meanwhile, you'll see that we've just ticked down to 26 players. Vladimir Ertseg just busted in 27th, and we could be about to lose Jack Sinclair. Rania shoved on him.
Yeah, look at this. Look at the expression.
I can't fold it.
How can he fold? That's what he's asking himself.
I mean, the same hand like me. Maybe worse for value. It's possible.
He just knows how ridiculous the situation is. It's funny, you know. It is. It's absurd to be having the worst hand here, blind on blind. I do like when they narrate. Yeah, and he calls it off.
King, kings, what kings? Wow.
Jack, you got rivered.
Oh.
And Sinclair will be our 26th place finisher, cashing for 36,000 euros. The runner-up from EPT London 2022 is eliminated from EPT Barcelona 2024.
Yeah, no surprise, another very strong performance from Jack Sinclair. If I was betting on it, I would have said he'd make the final table, but you know, that's the way poker is sometimes. Just a cruel game. And Rania now up to, my goodness, 5.9 million chips.
Well, we saw Stephen Song had close to 7 million,
Yeah.
so chances are he's number 1 on the leaderboard and she's number 2.
Oh my
Rania
goodness.
check called the turn for 140,000. Ace on the river.
Yeah.
And Mavrotakis shoves.
Call.
Rania calls, she's got another one.
Incredible.
Panos gets picked off.
And just narratively speaking, she gets the queen jack off in the small blind, and this time she doesn't make the mistake of folding it, gets it in there against the dominated hand, and 2 pair versus 2 pair. I mean, she is destined to make this final table.
So that is going to take us down to 23.
Sorry, Greece.
Rania with 6.6 million. Congratulations to qualifier Panos Mavrotakis. Was in for 530 euros, cashes out for 36 grand.
There's not many players left.
You're gonna play one more level.
Yeah.
I'd rather just like play and like.
Well, I think we'll
I
play
will
the
also-
16 regardless.
Oh, we will.
Yeah.
I think that's what they said. Because otherwise, we only played one more level and we're like 20, and then like tomorrow might be forever, right? So
Yeah, but
He's right about
it
that.
will be one more level 20. I mean, there's no chance nobody
It could
must-
be.
You think?
it's possible.
It is totally
happens.
possible.
90 minutes, just no one busts. Like, it happens all the time.
He's
Also
right.
now 6-7-handed, so it's kind of.
He's not wrong, Joe.
He's a smart man.
The play's also slowing down. People aren't as like, ambitious.
Now everyone wants to survive.
that's very fair.
Pinelin says they're not allowed to eat at the table. They're allowed to play with their eyes closed. It doesn't mean it's a good idea.
Pinelin must have missed Antonia's munching down constantly.
Fun little flop here. Top pair for Song. And the street flash draw for Rania Nasreddine.
Street flash potential, guys. A bet and a call. That looks like a straight to me, Joe.
7, 8, 9, 10, Jack. That's a straight, not just a straight, but a straight that has Steven Song drawing dead.
Yeah, we're going to want to continue barreling here. How much is the size, Rania? 300K. I like this a lot, actually.
Wormer, dead. Niedermeyer, dead. Song, dead.
Is this Song's swan song?
No, he cannot go broke.
No, I know, but still. we're working on that one for later.
It's another neener. That gives Steven Song. Oh no, another trap gone wrong.
Oof. He did it all.
Almost as sweet first.
Except you can't trap if you're the second one checking there.
Hey, Jack. Yeah.
How did she miss the value bet there?
Straight like